Shalom. There is George and Lone Star Living and Tracy Clark. It is an amazing day. Thank you, and Pastor Joe, for sharing your knowledge about Passover. We had an amazing Passover week. I'm really, really happy to hear that for y'all. And thank you for joining me on the live stream. I want to tell you about this day and then look at all your comments. And I don't know how long the live stream is going to go. Could go for an hour, could go for 10 minutes. We'll see. But I really felt like it was important to share what happened to me. It's actually over the course of 72 hours, but today just capped it off. So the start of it was I got up this morning, I did my normal stuff. I'm still on this weird schedule with my stomach, but I talked to my doctor yesterday, and I have to do another test, and then we figure out what's actually going to happen with my hernias. Anyway, I did that, and about 9:30, I got a phone call from someone that I was expecting, and I had on my list to call this person. They're going to do some work here. Um, and and so I answer the phone, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "I'll be there in half an hour." And I was thinking, "What?" I had not checked my text yet. I don't always check my phone except what time it is in the morning. And so that's really good news. Like, we were waiting for this news, and Pastor was not here at the time. And so I had to do like a chain reaction, call someone who had the number of the person he was with and let him know it was going to happen. It's really good news. And I did sort of around the property, looking at stuff early morning, uh, like chores, but also just checking things out. And when I came back, I did a quick stop at the house, and then I went up where I was going to meet that person. And I still had like more than half an hour before he was going to arrive, but his buddy showed up early. So I was there to greet him and give him instructions. And then very soon after, PJ was here. And so that all worked out. That was great. That's just a great thing for the day. People showing up, you contract them doing the thing, wonderful. And I'm sure there'll be a video about that later, maybe on PJ's Patreon page. Can y'all hear me over the chimes? There's Tara from South Carolina. Hope all you're doing well. Yeah, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me over the chimes. I do have a mic with me that I can put up in there. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. So the next part of that, of this day, which is really amazing, is I came down and I paid bills. Now, paying bills is not amazing for me. Paying bills is very stressful for me, even though I have things in order and I have a what do you call it? A regimen. And one of the things I was doing was checking up on a big bill that we had paid recently, and we were waiting to hear back if it had all gone through, like it had cleared and everything. And so I ended up calling the number and found out it had. So that was another really cool thing that happened. And there were only a few bills this month, so I got them done quick. That was great. But then I had a little voice in my head say, go down and check on the ducks. And long details, I ended up having to walk down. Normally, I'd probably take the Terex. And I've had those promptings before, and I've gone, whatever the prompting was, and there was nothing going on. And so I was only half convinced I needed to do it. But now we roll back the clock like 3 days. 3 days ago, I lost 2 ducks. And I was kind of thinking it was a coyote, because we had also lost our female turkey, which was really sad. That was around Passover. And I heard the coyote like howling the night that they got the turkey. And I'm sure the coyote was like, look, we're having a feast. Come up here, join us. All other coyotes, come eat. And so I knew that coyote was in the area. And I had 2 ducks. They were younger. Well, one was younger, one was older, a black one and a white one, who would get out of the pen early. And I wasn't locking them up in their little coop at night, because the ducks really didn't sleep once it became spring. They're like just in there all cramped up together. And so I felt sorry for them. So I was letting them into their bigger enclosure, which is not as secure. And these two were getting out in the morning, and I would drive the Terex down, and they would already be out, like swooshing through the puddles and whatever. And I told them, like, you guys, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be the ones outside the fence early in the morning. Well, this particular morning, they weren't there anymore. No feathers, nothing, just gone. And so when there's nobody, it's really hard to, did an owl get them? Did a bobcat wander by? It's hard to tell. But I suspected the coyote. And so it was really, really rainy. And I had all these plans on how to secure them. And I did something to the gate on the outside in case the coyote had slipped through the gate. And um, I went in there and I was going to move lots of ducks because I had like 3 or 4 ducks sitting on nests. And I'm like, if the coyote gets in, it's going to get one of these ducks. Some of them were out in the pen area, some were in the coop area. And I didn't want to lock everybody up in the coop because the ones in the pen wouldn't be able to access their nests. And so I thought, one more day, I'll just give it one more day. And then I'll really do a big change, because if I move birds off of a nest, then sometimes they stop sitting. And I'd love for my ducks at least once to have ducklings, right? Before I have my surgery and all that other stuff. So that next night, I didn't do anything. And I had this massive plan of moving nests and moving ducks while they were asleep and everything else, but it was also raining and I didn't want to do it. And I lost another duck that night. So I come to the pen. Now, this is yesterday morning. I come into the pen and there is a pile of feathers. There's a whole pile of feathers everywhere, and it's right outside the coop. They had gone in the coop and they had grabbed her right off her nest and they had killed her. And so I knew then, like, all right, extreme measures must be taken. I'm going to keep losing ducks because now it's like a duck smorgasbord down here for whatever predator it is. And I need to protect my birds. So then during the day, I like moved nests and found out that some of the nests were empty. The ones that were outside were empty. And sometimes that can be a snake. That can be a black snake coming in and just taking, 3 eggs at a time or 5, however many can fit in its guts. And so I was like, all right, well, if I move these ducks from outside into the little enclosure, their coop at night, she wasn't sitting on anything anyway, or she was trying to, but they're gone now. The coyotes ate them or whatever, or the snakes. And so that evening, it was like 4 p.m. We had done, I think, the end of unleavened bread. So we had guests all day long. And so about 4 p.m, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired. I come down to the house and I sit down and I'm going to rest. And then I get this prompting like, nope, go down to the orchard, go down to the orchard. And I'm like, all right, like I said, I've had promptings before and has come to nothing, but I went down there and pastor said, be on your guard, be on the lookout. I said, all right. So I go down there and I sit on one of those benches where I have live streams and I'm reading a book. It's a super volcano book. I forget the title of it, but it's a novel. And so I'm just sitting there quietly enjoying my ducks, enjoying the afternoon. It was beautiful. And all of a sudden I hear something in the woods. And I'm like, well, whatever. There's always sounds in the woods. And then the male goose, he comes up to me and he looks at me like very significantly out the side of his face, just looking at me. And then looks down and he looks at me. And then he turns and he looks at me. And he's standing there and he never does that. And I'm like, I interpret that as he's trying to tell me something. And then I hear the noise in the woods, which I think is probably a deer, might be my dog. And then I kind of put 2 and 2 together. And I'm like, oh. So I got up and I grabbed a rock and I went around the coop where I heard the noise. And yep, sure as shooting, there was a coyote or a fox behind there squatting to go to the bathroom. And I threw the rock at it and I probably hit it and scared it and it ran off. And I'm like, awesome. I was here for that. I never have experiences like that here. And I felt like the goose had told me, like the goose knew that was the predator out there. And he was over here like, wake up. And so I come back, I tell pastor, Like we make plans, we need to get a live trap out there, we need to do whatever. And it hasn't happened. We were going to put a camera up. That didn't happen yet. Um, and so today, this amazing day, this whole thing is happening on another part of the property and I'm not involved. PJ's handling it. I'm paying bills. I get finished. And that little voice says, go down to the orchard. I think it's the Ruach HaKodesh. All right. Let's just be honest with each other. But the Terex is somewhere else and I got to walk down there. And I've already walked down there this morning and let the birds out. And they were fine. I didn't lose any because they were in their coop, which is kind of like Duck Knox, Fort Duck, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty secure. So I walked back down there again and I left the book there. I didn't even realize I left the book there. And it's like lunchtime-ish. I'm kind of hungry, so I don't want to stay very long. And I walk in, and right as I'm going in, a black snake goes away, right? Wiggles away, and I'm like, huh. So that's where the eggs in the nest probably went. I'm like, huh. I need to pay attention to that too, because I need to rehome the snake, right? I need to catch the snake in some way or another and rehome it. And so I go in and I sit down and there's my book. I'm like, oh, okay. I left it down here and I'm reading the book. And I'm there about 5 minutes. I let the ducks and the geese out the gate and they splash in the puddle there and everything. And I just look up because it's pretty and everything. And I notice the 2 geese and 1 white duck that hang out together walk over to this big log in front of the orchard that it's huge. It's super heavy and I sit on it sometimes. I do live streams from that log and that's kind of where the snake went. And I look up and they're standing in the corner by that log. And I'm getting these thoughts like that log's probably too heavy for the snake to actually be under. And the female goose is like looking down and looking at me. And she's looking down and she's looking at me. And they're all kind of there, kind of looking at me in that space. And I go, no way, no way. And I'm like, all right. So I get up and I grab me a rock and I go walking over there. And the log is sitting, and then there's some bark from a tree that's up against the fence, because we're drying it out, maybe use it as roofing on something, some project or another. And so I don't see the snake next to the log, so I start pulling the bark up. And meanwhile, the birds kind of back up, and it's kind of hard to move the bark. Some of it's caught on the fence and everything, so I'm peeling it back, and it's like, yeah, there's some pathways under it, but it could be a mole, could be a mouse, like I don't know for sure. And don't you know, when I got that last piece of bark away from that log, there was that snake. And so I chucked a rock at it to scare it away. And again, these kind of things never happened to me. And I'm looking at the geese and I'm going, they've indicated 2 times in the last 72 hours predators in a very specific way to me. And it floored me. Like, they've got a lot more going on behind those little eyes than just, I need to eat some, some grass and quack or whatever. Like, they astounded me with how they had let me know that had happened. So that was really the biggest amazing of the day, was just that particular what the heck. And at the same time, when I came out of the house and I was going to go down there, a crow was flying over, kind of caw. The crows and I have a different relationship. We liked them until they ate my peaches last year. I only had 3 on the tree and they ate them, and I got mad at them, and we were down there scaring them off. And so they're kind of like, once you've done that, they don't like you much anymore. But I've really tried this springtime to like talk to them and leave some stuff out for them. And I feel like that crow may have been confirmation that something is hinky down there. So the last little thing that's not amazing to you guys, but it was amazing to me, was as I'm sitting there doing the bills, and I'm in my head, I'm like, wow, this is tedious, because I would, handwrite the receipts and handwrite the checks and all that other stuff. So we're in the digital world now. There's probably an easier way for me to do this where I don't have to write out everything myself. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but y'all know you probably all do this stuff anyway. Some people have bills automatically taken out of paychecks. I'm 61 when it finally occurred to me that there were other options for me, and that if I wanted this whole thing to be streamlined, I could. And so that is, and the day's not done yet. We're going to go out to eat. It's going to be awesome. It's just a really great day. It's beautiful. And there, I shared it. So now I will look at your comments and, um, yeah, those geese. I don't even know how to, all right. There is Striker Cade, Shalom, and Orla Garland, Shalom. Oh wow, there's a lot. Whoa, you guys have a lot of comments. Let me go back. Okay. Okay, there's George, Tracy Clark. Oh, I can't. It's so bright in here. I might have to change my point of view just a little bit so I can see my screen. There we go. Lamp Keeper. She just put a little video on Instagram showing a camper going to her property, which is really exciting for her. Thank you, Pastor Joe. Shalom and good night. 22:30 over here. Blessings to everyone. Greek Homestead's been putting some very artsy videos and things up. She had one in her coop where her rooster was crowing. That was kind of cute too. There's Jason in Virginia. Shalom and terra firma. Hello from South Carolina. Sound is great. Thank you. We're getting ready to do IBC totes for water. Are those behind you painted or plastic wrapped? Okay, they are plastic wrapped, but he has painted them in the past and used spray paint. Spray. What am I trying to say? Yeah, spray paint. And there's Lone Star Living again. Thank you, you guys. Thanks for those. Hello, SK and friends. Nima Chan. And Christy Hubbard, shalom, and Westwood Forge. I get to live. I agree with Bill Payne being stressed on. My resolution was to figure out how much money. And another amazing thing are the hummingbirds are back. I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but the hummingbirds are back. They came back last night. They fly around the feeder, and it was empty, and it's like, fill it. So now that I've got some in there, there's a couple of them. Okay, my resolution was to figure out how much my monthly bills are and put that amount each month in a separate account for it to be automatically debited. Right? I mean, that's the smart thing. Donald Stadler, hello. And my kids, are probably like, Mom, this has been available for years. Like we've been trying to tell you, you can do other things. Grateful Preps, hello from NYC. How are things in NYC? Ethan, I'm not going to go into that. I'll just say that you need to check with your state to find out if that's okay or not. How can I put it? I just hope it doesn't come back. I have a dog safe raccoon trap, but nothing for coyotes. Sister Kate Shalom, Orla Garland, hi. Do you have a problem with raccoons? I did, and I live trapped them, and I moved them. That's how I dealt with that. And if you have raccoons, you have to have a very secure place for your birds because the raccoons are smart and strong, and yeah, they can wreak havoc. Mike Honda, Jen is here. Hang on. I lost all the comments. Here we go. Jen here again. Jen Honda. That's right. Avin Ashid, Pakistan. Hi from Somerset, UK. Well, howdy there. How are things in Somerset? Wisconsin would like to know, do you have problems like we do at night in the country with bats? We have bats, but ours are not a problem. They eat the mosquitoes. They're very small. Hearing a rooster crow reminded me of funny that happened yesterday. My oldest didn't recognize the sound roosters crowing at distant neighbors. Didn't recognize the sound roosters crowing at distant neighbors. I managed to keep a straight face. Ronaldo on. The only way you could be better is if you're not going through it. Okay. If I have a moderator in here, pretty wet and miserable as usual. Believe it or not, I've been to England before and it can be very wet and miserable, even at this time of year. But hey, England has its own charms, right? I would love to have some fish and chips. I would love to go to a chip shop and eat some fish and chips right now and get Cadbury and Lion bars because those are delicious. Okay, so there are no moderators here, right? You're the wet dog. Okay, so Lone Star, are you in here? Because if you are, we probably need to do a little stuff. And if you're not, then I'll do it myself. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so I just have to, there. That ought to take care of it. Okay, there we go. Westhold Forge. There you go. I thought I had a moderator in here. Good job. They're just being silly. I mean, whatever. Fish and chips. Yes. Yeah, they disappeared because they got disappeared. So what did you guys think about my story? You probably don't have geese, so maybe it doesn't mean that much to you. Hey, Suze. Yay. So, hey, Suze, I gave a story and it was an amazing day for me. But I'm not going to go through it again just because I've already gone over it. So when this becomes a video, you'll be able to hear the story then. I don't computer good. I'm slow as molasses, but at least you got the job done. That was great. Anybody else have pets that you seem to be able to communicate with in a very real way? What's up, ma'am? Says Donald Trump. I guess you are. Animals are smart. I definitely think they were communicating with you, said Lamekeeper. Sounds like y'all had a plan for you to figure out your animal and egg problem. I believe that. I will go back and listen for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think my son and I agreed too. Some of our animals let us know. Howdy, coal miner's daughter. Let us know when they're hungry. Like, look at you significantly and be like, how about you cough up, what I'm supposed to be eating? Also, I feel like sometimes your animals may tell you when they're sick. I've had a dog look at me very significantly. You had cancer, just sat right in front of me and was like, till I took him to the vet. Evan, I really don't want to get into politics. Looks like beautiful weather there. Our cat has a way of telling us things like that. Yeah. Great. Are we? Only if cat's laying on your chest wanting to be petted is a form of communication. Well, I know mine are like the one cat, the male who showed up here, he was so super affectionate and he was always rubbing on us until I found out he has ringworm and he managed to pass that along to me. So I'm dealing with that. I'm almost good with it, but it's like, dude, yeah, you're affectionate, but dang, you know what I mean? And right here's the other cat. She knows I'm on a live stream, and it's like, don't try to come up in my lap. I got my water bottle here, just in case. So why do you have Pakistan there? Are you a student, Avin? Or like a, what do you call it? Did you emigrate or whatever? And they're shy. Hey, how you doing? You're a troll too. That's fine. Whatever. No, we had a dog get ringworm and I managed to get it on my hair. A whole hunk of my hair fell out. Right? It's so annoying. How did you know they have ringworm? Okay, so when I showed up with it, that's when I was like, oh, he had some sores on his body. They were real specific. They were patches with no hair, right? With a little red dot right in the middle. Now, when it's on a person, you don't normally have that red dot in the middle, but he had like one on his chest, one on his cheek, and like one on his head. And then he had some other like dryish patches that I was an idiot and scratched at. I'm like, what's going on with you? You scabbed up or whatever? And of course, I got it on my hand and then whatever. Um, I don't do cats, and this guy is a stray, and so I don't have a lot of cat experience. The one we have is used to be my daughter's. Now she's scratching. Maybe I'm gonna have to treat her too. Nope, don't come over here. Do not come over here. Um, and then I call my vet. Oh, that's the other thing. Duh. I need a medicine for one of my dogs. And I'm like, I don't want to drive all the way there. My vet lives a while, like half an hour away. Called her up, said, is there some way I can have that medicine mailed to me? And she's like, oh, yeah, go online, go on our website, just order it and it'll be delivered. And I'm like, what? How cool is that? How convenient is that? That was the last little cherry on the ice cream sundae. My dog Coco died because she had worms in her. Yeah, you can worm your own dog. You can buy wormer at a farm store. I worm my dogs when I think they have worms. Yeah, it reminds me of psoriasis, but it's a circle. It's definitely a circle. When it's on people, it's a red raised circle, but it's only a fungus. It's not really a worm. They called it a ringworm because when they first saw it, they probably thought a worm was causing it because it's raised, but it's a fungus. So you just need a fungus thing like tenactin spray or something, and you can heal yourself of it. Use motor oil, fixes all animal skin problems, or so redneck wisdom tells us. Well, you can try that. I might use olive oil, but my go-to is that Scarlex spray that you can get at the co-op and at farm stores and stuff. That takes care of a lot of issues. It's a fungicide and a germicide. All right. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. I didn't intend to go very long. The story is at the beginning, so if you didn't hear it, this will become a video, and then you can watch it and hear, and hopefully you guys will comment. Fungicide works unless it's in your hair. Yeah, you probably need a cream, motor oil, right? Cute. All right. Thank you for coming to the live stream. I appreciate it. Sometimes I do longer ones. Sometimes I do them in the evening. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah, sometimes I've got a topic, sometimes I don't. So I always appreciate people coming and showing up. And for my moderators and channel supporters, I appreciate you guys too, being channel members and crew members. All right. Shalom, y'all. Till next time. Bye bye. And thanks. There we go.